Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 15 of Yoti of Vanilla Cities 2 build. Hope you're having a wonderful day. The farm settled in very nicely on the western hills of Benedict last week, didn't they? And this week I'd like to turn our attentions really to one of the last projects in Benedict there at the south side by the highway interchanges, the fields, and the housing areas. There's a little banana-shaped strip of land here that needs to be blended out as the countryside takes over from this bit of Benedict, which will really be one of the last builds here besides the university, which of course will continue to expand over time with demand. But either way, I've already gone ahead and softened out the terrain here so we can begin to connect the obvious connections through here all along the arterial. And I think we're going to rework this junction here into a bit of a triple roundabout, kind of almost Swindon inspired attraction for the road network really. So let's get this installed. So this gives us a basic little residential frame to fill the hillside here, which will give us, on the end of today's episode, some of the best residential views in the city, right? You guys will have to let me know what suburb you would live in Yoti. Are you a downtown Benedict, or are you growing up on the hardcore estates of Shelton? Which has gotten a little bit too big, hasn't it? These houses on the left need to go. This is too big now. We don't like this anymore. Yes, I know you're all suffering with ground pollution. You'll have to deal with it. I like my building sites, I'm afraid. So let's turn our attention to this junction here now. And somewhat inspired by the basically roundabout insanity of Swindon, I think I'd like to utilize the inbuilt roundabouts here to create a bit of a feature for the town. You know, you can imagine everyone drives into Benedict. They're like, oh, for God's sake, we have to go past the triple roundabout system again. But the council thought it was a really good idea, that kind of setup, you know. So we'll come to decide on the exact configuration of roundabouts. So let's just get the nodes in place first. Pretty much just want to keep this running. I'll likely have it all as highway roads too. This one can come a little bit further out. We also had a slight bend in the road here as well, didn't we? I will use highway roads for this. I'm going to totally redraw that segment actually. Let's have you come up. Be about there. And then we'll stick another one in. And then with the roundabout system, we'll connect a triangle. So we've got large here. I'm going to drop these outer ones to... Or maybe we could have 3 different sizes. Maybe that'll help complement the design. Let's hit play and see how they start to flow. We'll definitely make this one here 4 lane as well. Keep the outer one 2 lane like it was before. Let's just see how the AI chooses to navigate this. Actually, let's make this segment highway here as well. Don't want them to read it differently. And I'm not a massive fan of this segment anymore either. This road isn't enormously necessary, so I think we'll probably just straight up remove it. And the car park can go as well, to be honest. We'll kind of eat into this green belt here and redesign it with today's ideas in mind. I do want to keep the elevated pathway in there, so we'll have a look at that. I think the visual of 3 roundabouts like that would be pretty fun for the road network. Although interesting, I just saw someone take that right turn to come out this way rather than going straight on. But it is working for the most part. So let's turn our attention now toward these elevated bridges, where we've got 2 of them over here. The one down the highway is this one, isn't it? And I think I'd like this one to be a bit more dramatic since it's kind of the entrance into Benedict. So let's come up to 7.5 and we'll see if we can get the span of a single arch in mostly equidistant, something like that. That should sit quite nicely over the road, almost kind of frames up a Benedict if you're down in the car perspective, doesn't it? Quite tasty. And we'll just keep it the single arch, right? There's no need to overdo it. You just come back down to the ground over here. +0.1's pretty much perfect. And let's just have this wind down into this big park space here. We'll have it drop in the middle, and then we'll connect it to both sides via pathway. Great, so that's just a very small little nice additional layering. We also remove some car parking as well. Which now it's been a while since we've been over at the big box. This was episode 2, wasn't it? Car park's still not massively full. They're all free as well. The AI seems to love the parking roads, which I'm not sure if this factors into the whole AI pathfinding simulation mechanic that CS2 has with in terms of how and where they travel. Yeah, I'm not sure if the AI counts this as parking or are they roads, so actually no idea. Let me know if you figured that out, by the way. If you managed to gather anything from the parking simulation, I suppose. Also connect this up at the top too, up to a crossroads would be wonderful. Then we can have some fun with the parks. Then we've also got the same deal over here again as well. And same thing, let's draw out on some little curves here. And we can have some real fun with the landscaping around these park entrances here. Into a little wooded hillside. In terms of an entrance into this suburb here, I wouldn't be enormously against that either. Let's see if we can introduce it. Possibly from this roundabout. Let's see if we can wiggle our way up. Let's bring a road out from this one to connect to. Don't like that little dip that's in there though. Let's redraw that. Super. I like this. So let's bring in some North American low density here, especially in these frames up and around the top of the hill. Lots of people in here. Got some nice tree lines against the highway here. I think I might even keep these roads coming off the highway, also highway roads. We don't want any zoning here. And we can also start getting clever with some little turn lanes off here too. Onto the busy ones, we'll do the same down this side. Really is, the vanilla experience with the road tools is just a lot of fun, it really is. That'd be wonderful. We can also do the same like that way, but I doubt that's going to be a hugely popular connection. There we go, some more cars managing to navigate the triple bypass of Benedict, I suppose, is what the locals maybe refer to it as. But it's flowing down here, so hopefully this will start adding some more pressure to these outer interchanges as well. We'll start to see these get some more flow. And let's also start bringing some fancy designs into our paths here too. There's possible calls to actually downgrade this to regular road, and we might be able to intersect some more roads through here. I guess we'll see how it pans out. Either way, I'm happy for a bit of a park green belt to separate suburban arterial all the way down the road here, right? I think actually maybe leaning in more into that design, that could be a really fun aesthetic. Just almost like from the satellite view, right? It's always such a important sightline. Can't imagine anyone's going to walk over the diverging diamond, but they are regular roads even though they walk on highways in CS2, so it will walk that way anyway. Over here, possibly a little bit, but this is all highway road too. We don't really want to encourage walking on these roads, you know. I guess car crashes are something to factor into where we send the pedestrians on foot, I suppose, right? I wonder if it does increase the risk of a crash when they're on the road. But so some sims are starting to come in here. We use a mix of all different styles of zoning up here. Let's also get some southwest low density in the smaller zonings. Happy for here as well. All this can grow up. Remember, most of this stuff only grows 4 deep anyway, so we can pack it out with trees and whatnot. Which will help with the idea of trying to blend the suburb out too. And I don't think we'll have any homes here. I think we'll preserve everyone's view of of the tower block housing estate, of course. Yes, we will nullify some of those towers. Let's do that now, actually. Sorry, everyone. I was hoping for a more discreet, repeated pattern, and you have failed me. So demolition it is. I'll leave a few up. Let's do these ones. That can go, and that one. There we go. I think I can deal a bit more with that. Perhaps staggered is a bit better, isn't it? Got a lot of dead again. Huge death waves. So with the residential beginning to climb up the hillside here, I'd like to introduce the, I guess the second bit of today's build. The terrain around here is pretty mad, which I'm a bit reluctant to terraform it. I might keep that. Now let's do a little switch back from here, but we'll also do another road from another point, which we'll get to in a second. So let's go up to, let's say, where's the tallest point here? Out there, isn't it? This little natural rise in the peninsula is the best viewpoint. So let's come down to about here then. No, it's just too steep. That's okay though. I'll just... I'll respect the topography in that case then. That's fine. We'll leave it steep then if it is really that tight. And in this case we'll slope up to here from this roundabout as an entrance into what I want to build up this way. So from here you come down to the roundabout, which will also be quite nice because it'll send some traffic down here. And then just slowly ascending the contour line so we can have this road that runs up the hill. And then it'll arrive at some sort of viewpoint made up of a park of some description. I might even consider a graveyard up here. There's a great place very near to where I grew up actually called, pretty sure it's Hilltop or Clifftop Cemetery. I can't remember. It's been years since I've been there. Editing guy will try and leave some Google Earth footage in for us. But if we were to sample it, graveyard overlooking the city does look pretty cool. It does look pretty good, that. I imagine it's doing horrendous things to the terrain around it. It absolutely is. we'll need to blend that in. But as proof of concept right there, yes please, everyone. We'll I think we'll go with the Hilltop Cemetery. The other alternative is the Hilltop Parish Church, which is a bit more discreet. I don't know, let me also check this one out. The only problem with this one is it fills up permanently and then you've got to mess about with it to get it empty again. Which is a bit annoying from a gameplay perspective. But again, that also is very welcome, especially with the turret here on top. That's a tough call, that. I think I'm going to go with the smaller one. I think I'm going to go with this one. Yeah. Tough call, that one. Let me know what you would have gone with in the comments. Okay, let's bring this all out then. Now we'll sort of shape this land a bit more to hold the church asset. I think I probably want the church facing the front as well. So over here you can imagine this is some sort of older chapel. So if we can sort of position the camera to be positioned on or in the turrets ourselves, that's about the best I can get it. That's not a bad viewpoint at all, is it? Yeah, definitely the right choice there. Turret sells it, doesn't it? And the land around this shouldn't be too hard to blend this one in. Let's just come up with some ridge lines. And then also from down in the council estate as well. Yeah, even just seeing the little peak of the chapel, right? That's such a nice little landmark for the south of Benedict, isn't it? Really nice. You'd almost put that on a postcard, couldn't you? Like the welcome water tower in the church on the hill in the background. Very good. We'll of course keep the roads much more smaller and discreet around here. Let's have our pathway. I tell you, we will actually give it its upgrades immediately, just so it fills the footprint I know I want it to. And then we'll have many a park off of this road. Send this back in, and then our little highway road here can also continue as it loops its way back to a junction just a little bit further down from the interchange. There's possibly justification for another little traffic flow roundabout in there as well. This isn't massively busy yet. I envision it will be once other towns exist off of the national road further away. In terms of the next one I want to build, I'm actually not sure. Maybe you guys can decide. Let me know if you want to see the next town develop down the valley. Or do you want to head out and set up kind of the rural town in the fields. You have to let me know where you want to go to. Or the lake town as well. There's 2 lakes here to make use of. This could be a lot of fun building out here. With that very distant sight lines to Benedict, looks really far away up here, doesn't it? Which is great. I really enjoy that. So I think with this road here through the middle, I'm actually going to come into a couplet system here. Just with the highway roads. That's come off pretty much all snapping really. And 1 straight connection should get us through. That's about perfect there, I think. So returning to the idea of landscaping this whole little park front alongside the road, I think this will be a lot of fun. And a good chance for us, I think, to maybe explore some further grass texture. Let's fill in this whole segment. And then we also talked about kind of quite a lot of forest between suburb and arterial. Just to help with our transition. Come down to quite a small brush here. That will do a couple of different ages of oak. Even a smaller brush than that, I think. And let's mix in 2 or 3 trees to this. Suppose I might as well also keep the surface running up to the final corner as well, hadn't I? Tidy up some little inconsistencies on the texture. So we'll keep that running all the way down this highway too, I think. In terms of what's going to happen out here, I think I'd just like the forest to kind of take over again here. What's the tile shapes like around this edge? There's probably not a lot of calls for us to really ever buy that one, is there? Because it's kind of unbuildable. Interestingly enough, there's a lack of labour at the church. I don't think I've ever seen that warning over a death care building before. Oh, interesting. Well, maybe one of these fine folk down here will come and work for you at some point. Let's hope so. Let's see how some Japanese low density also looks up here too. I don't want to get super close to the highway though. So leave some room for some trees. I don't want to try go for one full consistent style on this hillside. Imagine many different styles would have been built over the years as decades have passed. Trends have come and gone, etc. I think a mix of zonings can help us achieve something like that. So speaking of some further surface work, I'd love to have some sand textures here. And that essentially just function as dirt pathways. Now obviously they're going to be totally aesthetically focused. I think if we just... lots of nodes, lots of spam. And we'll take them up to this little corner. And then back again. And then just tuck that into the edge of the building. Remove any obnoxious trees. Bit of a well-trodden path. And then just little segments of this road I'd like to upgrade into... unfortunately they're one way, but there's no reason we can't just loop the road around. It's maybe a little bit bigger a segment than I wanted. Let's maybe cut that in half, let's say there instead. And then I want parking here. Right, the parking space is like off of the road. And then we'll do the same. We'll make this one way. And then it can loop around here, I think. And there should be quite a nice way of introducing some car parking for the parks and obviously the church that lie up here. Without making it look kind of too concrete jungly, you know. Do something similar with this one here too. And then we'll just merge the one-way systems back in there. But I think just a pretty nice way, pretty different way, just introducing a bit of variation into some car parking in vanilla. Maybe another little segment there. Really like the way you could almost do this with node controller in CS1, with just how the parking sits off of the road, especially with the upgrade to just line it up maybe a bit more centrally. Something like that perhaps, right? I really do find a lot of enjoyment to be had from the parking roads in particular. Maybe because I've played so much CS1 vanilla and never had that. No, it's just a breath of fresh air, I think, to say the least. Let's get some park spam up here. We'll also have activity playgrounds, lots of family-friendly venue, etc. And we should start to have a lot of fun up here. Over the front of this, I wouldn't mind some rocks and some bush lining. And potentially even a switchback pathway. Can't see it getting tons of use. How friendly will you play? If I were to just make you a switchback, does it make it look awful? Because with pathways, they can really just go as steep as you want. The gradient police hold no jurisdiction over pathways, thankfully. You know what? I think I'm pretty happy with that. It actually just carves quite an authentic switch back into the mountain already, doesn't it? And it doesn't need to run for too long, because it's basically already back at the top, which is wonderful. Now I can just take this up and over. And we'll feed this up to our car parking. Across again as well. Might be a little tight there. We can probably find some happy finaglable space though. And then let's just calm down some of these pedestrian crossings here where there's maybe a little bit too many of them. There we go. Some further texture, I think. Maybe let's go for the other coloured sand. And in between these little parking roads here too on top of the hill. Really want this to be an attractive viewpoint. I'd love to have cars regularly driving up here. And some smaller stones as well, I think. Super. And then let's hook this in. It should be okay, just I guess let's do maybe a little bit of slope in here just to introduce this back to the hill. We'll go for something like that. Awesome. So we'll see indeed if anyone wants to try and walk up to the top of the church. Remains to be seen. But we've got the bones of the building here today on South Benedict. Let's go ahead and get the rest of it filled in. Lots more surfaces, residential to fill in on the hillside. And then some areas like this. Do we need to review any services? How are we doing for things like garbage? Here we get another small recycling centre in here potentially. Has low air pollution, so we should be able to get away with it. But we'll see. But either way, let's do some detailing. And then we'll be right back. I'd also just like to note before that detailing time-lapse how much extra industrial traffic is coming off of the highway here. Really interesting. See all these trucks, been happening for a while now. See them all heading down here too. They're actually using the bypass around the west side of Benedict to avoid going through the town. Which is very satisfying because we're all coming through here. So that's really awesome actually to see some functional bypass in action, isn't it? All these guys would have had to have gone through Benedict previously to get to the port or to get to the other side of the city on, you know, over there. But now they actually have a working bypass. Amazing. Very excited about that. Alright guys, but that will do it for today. Slightly shorter episode and build than normal, but we just had this awkward little banana strip of land in the south of Benedict, which is now occupied by hillside suburbia. There's lots of custom playgrounds and greenbelt lining the highway, and also the presence of a low-rent tower by the roundabouts, with plenty of people walking back and to across the pedestrian bridge as well, which is nice. Also chucked in a road maintenance depot by the highway, just for some nice orientation. And just so this side of the city also has a road maintenance depot, because the other one is under the highway interchange by the port. But a nice end to Benedict. Next episode, we will certainly go and start Pastures New, a totally new town away from what we've done here. But we will be back in Benedict, like I mentioned, as the university continues to grow out, which will remain the only university on the map, I think. I really like the idea that if you live in Yokeley, you have to go to Benedict if you want to go to university. I think that'd be a really cool way to kind of structure the education system as the city grows. A massive shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that support these videos, with a roll call to our patron Golden Eggs, Bad Wolf, Blythe, Casino, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix MD, and Spartan Angel. If you guys want to get involved in that, links to Patreon and Instant Gaming are the best ways to do so down below. Otherwise, enjoy the cinematics, and I'll see you for that new town next episode. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.